In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to do the technique called glaze inlay. The first thing you're going to want to do is mix the glaze and check its thickness. Next, we are going to take our cup and dip it into the white glaze. Take your tongue and put one on the inside and one on the outside. Then take your cup and put it in horizontally so the water enters through the top and the bottom at the same time. Pour out the glaze, and then the next step, place it on a counter to dry. This should only take a few minutes, so please make sure to grab your cup by the end of the period in case you forget. Okay, so now once your cup is dry, we're going to want to clean the glaze off the bottom of our cup. One of the key tricks to doing this is to keep on rinsing your sponge as you go. Get water, squeeze out most of the water, and just keep wiping until it's all clean. The entire bottom needs to be clean. Okay, now here is a container of wax. I want to take this opportunity to let you know what it is. What wax does is it provides a protection for glaze. The wax repels water or glaze or anything that touches it. One warning about wax is that you never want it to get onto the clay of your cup. If this happens, no glaze will be able to stick to it, and we will have to bisque fire it again in order to remove the wax. So now that you know what it is, let's do step 5, which is to brush one layer of wax onto your cup. As you brush on the wax, make sure you cover the entire outside. You don't want to have little spots that you miss. That will make your design look really messy in the future. Now we're going to let your wax dry for a little bit and then do step 6. Get out your sketches and begin carving your first color using a needle tool. In this example, I'm going to be starting by carving in the blue waves. So you can see here, it's fast forwarded. I'm going to take the pointy end of the needle tool and carve in my lines. It will also be important for you to, step 7, use a dry brush to remove crumbs from your carvings as you go. This will provide a really clean surface for your next step. If you make a mistake while you're carving, you're just going to have to make it work. Okay, so now we're on to step 8, which is to brush on the glaze into the lines that you carved. In this case, I'm using Aegean blue, which will turn out blue. And what I'm going to make sure I do is just go over the areas that have lines. I'm also going into it and really pushing the glaze down to make sure that it gets into those lines. Once you covered all of your carved in lines, you want to gently wipe off the excess glaze. This is the most difficult part of this whole process. So please pay attention to the following tips. First of all, make sure to keep on rinsing your sponge as you go. You can see how many times I go through and I rinse. I only do 2 or 3 swipes before I go back and rinse off my sponge. If you see that the wax is starting to come off, stop. Do not keep wiping and come show it to me. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not scrub. Just keep on gently wiping it off and keep on rinsing off that sponge as you go. The next step is to cover the lines with one layer of wax. Remember, the wax protects the glaze. This is going to protect this blue glaze as we put on our next color. Try not to forget any areas. You can tell that the glaze will get slightly darker when the wax has been painted over it. Once that is done, we're going to step 11, carve in the lines for your next color. The next few steps are going to be the same as we did for when we were first drawing in that blue wave pattern. You carve in the lines, you clean off the crumbs with a dry brush, and then you fill in or brush on the glaze into the lines that you just carved. You can see here that I'm painting once again green into those lines that I carved. Make sure that you fill in all of your carved lines with your glaze. Go over it once or twice until you know it's all filled in. Now step 14, we're going to gently wipe the excess glaze off of the cup. Just like before, be very careful, wipe gently, do not scrub, and clean off your sponge frequently. Now, step 15, we're almost done. Go ahead and look over your cup and try to find areas where maybe too much glaze has been wiped off. I found a spot on my rim, so I'm going to use a brush, get some glaze, and gently tap on or dab on a little extra glaze into those areas. Remember to really look your cup over to make sure that there's no clay showing anywhere. Well, of course, other than the bottom. Which brings us to our final step, step 17, do a final bottom wipe. There should be no glaze on the bottom of your cup. Okay, so those are the steps for glaze inlay. I hope you guys all have fun, and let me know if you have questions.